FM.
Alright, that should do it. Sorry about that. I had not set up my headset on this particular scene yet, so a little bit of an awkward opening, but what the hell do we expect from Ass Talk? Welcome everybody, we're hanging out on Sunday afternoon. There's not too much going on, a lot of baseball. Hello Sticks, William, and Luke. But there is a good amount of racing, or there would be a good amount of racing going on if the track wasn't flooding in Chicago right now. Yeah, they're stuck in a rain delay. They actually cut the Xfinity series short and just awarded the win to the driver who was in first at the time. But right now they're hoping for a 5 o'clock start. They in fact started this race earlier than it was supposed to because they desperately are trying to shift the times. They were replaying qualifying for the entirety of the hour before I was watching before the IndyCar race went on at Honda. But that's what I have on, by the way, is the Honda Indy 200, which is happening out at Mid-Ohio this weekend. They've already had a big crash. A couple of cars just lost track of where they were, and they decided to lock wheels, get a little bit of air, and go off the track. We're forced to bed, but we're free to dream. Yes, oh, I'm sure NASCAR was dreaming of much, much money when they thought, hey, we could do a street race in Chicago. You didn't watch it? Well, I heard, Verstappen won, so no surprise there, but apparently Lando did well. I heard Kirsten was singing his praises as soon as the event was over. I'm not sure which country it was this week for Formula One, but I do know that it's going to be the Great Britain Grand Prix next week, and Luke decided to watch day 5. Oh, it was in Austria. That's right, Austria. And yeah, day 5 of the Ashes is also happening today. It's actually over now, I believe. I think Australia won by like 47 runs. England needed 357 to win the match. They got over 300, and I guess just either ran out of time or got bowled out. But yeah, for those of you who are familiar with us, we are also keeping up as best we can with the Ashes. It's a regular bunch of cricket matches that happen between England and Australia, and yeah, I'm trying to learn the rules of cricket through it. That's what I thought. It'd been over for a while. Also, I don't know if any of you noticed, but the little emoticon thing that you could just click on and spam the hearts or the hundreds or the laughter or whatever into the chat, that's covering the end of the most recent chat of everything in my window. So sometimes it blocks important details like numbers or, clarifying words. That's what I was also wondering about. They have to win, because it's a best 3 out of 5, I understand. England has to win all the remaining test matches in order to come out on top and win the Ashes back from Australia, because Australia's holding them right now, correct? I think they are. Anyway, everybody else, hello. Again, currently Herta and is in first, and Rahal is about half second behind in the Honda Indy 200 at Mid-Ohio. They're on lap 70 of 80. I don't have any infrastructure or scenes set up for keeping the drivers straight or listed. I'm not quite that far along yet, so I'll just keep checking back and letting you know whenever. In America, it's being shown on the USA Network. So however that helps you all around here, whatever you gotta do outside of it, you know, watch it however you can because I have a decently exciting race so far. A lot of people very close together. Ooh, a lot of sneaking going on in the near the front of the pack. Yes, cars go fast, True North. And honestly, I especially wanted to watch this one simply because if y'all could see, that is one of my old club racing hats from the Porsche Club of America, where my parents were members and instructors for a number of years. So I got to attend events at Mid-Ohio a number of times. I actually got to walk the track once, and it was pretty lightning for not only how far, but how fast they're going, and how much that you have to adjust your expectations from what to do on a closed track, aside from open road. It was one of the really eye-opening moments for me as someone who appreciated racing. Because we also got to experience all the changes in elevation that happen on the track as well. So it added a few more wrinkles that I wasn't aware of before. Anyway, Luke, I'm doing good. I got some mediocre sleep. I had Angie barfing on my face at 1 in the morning to wake me up, but, I didn't leave it on my face long enough to discover what it actually was, but I'm almost 90% certain that it wasn't previously a living thing. But I'm good. Got a little bit of writing done, hung out with some local peeps this morning, and now I'm just hanging out here, taking in the afternoon and checking up on all the sports scores of the day. We don't have any CONCACAF at the moment. That's all going to be starting tonight with a couple of games. USA versus Trinidad and Tobago, and Jamaica versus St. Kitts and Nevis. Trinidad and Tobago were the folks who have knocked the USA out of contention before, so come on. Let's get a replay, folks. Let's get a replay. But I will check back what we've got going on in Major League Baseball, and oh look, history repeating. It's the bottom of the 7th, and the Twins are beating the Orioles 1-0. This feels familiar. However, the Pirates have decided to switch things up and start their contest with the Brewers today with a 2-0 lead at the top of the 3rd. Marlins are flipping the script on the Braves 2-0 at the bottom of the 2nd. Phillies beating the Nationals 3-0. Red Sox and Blue Jays tied at 1, and Padres and Reds still scoreless very early on in that game. Now, if I didn't say it on Friday, and I probably did, but I want to say it again, I do appreciate everybody who comes in and has been updating me about all the action in NHL and NBA free agency, because it's not something that I've ever paid very close attention to before. In my mind, summer means only baseball; all the other sports are off. But been very helpful to me to get a better idea of which teams are starting to make the most moves in the off season. I and what I've gotten so far from what people have told me is that Miami is the hot destination. The Lakers' deep run has decided to attract a few more ring chasers. Hello to Sean Colbert and Ishii, just outright appearing in chat, not even lurking this time. That is bravery, Ishii. I applaud your boldness and just stepping right into here and saying hi. I'm very glad to see you two today. What the hell was I just talking about? I don't know. But over here, at least, it may be raining like hell, but at least we can breathe the air outside again, which is very nice. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, the Miami Heat. Yes, the Miami Heat. Thank you. So, and it's not to say that there wasn't enough talent on the team already. It's just I think they played over their heads and at such a high level for such a long time that they kind of just ran out of juice by the end. So maybe they get a couple big pieces in, you know, to help out Mr. Butler. Feels like 109. Ew. Ugh. No, bad. Do not want. Yeah, stay cool out there, Ishii. Drink plenty of fluids. Nope. So, I think the odds are good that Miami can improve next season, but I also think that they will not be underestimated by virtue of simply being an 8 seed. Which, as much as we might like to protest, people get those ideas in their head about the abilities of a team just simply based on their seeding. You know, sometimes it tracks, but there can often be surprises, as we saw this year with the Florida teams, which Mr. Pizzle was very happy about, I imagine. But hey, all right, we've reached lap 13 of 80 at the Honda Indy 200. It's still Herta, Rahal in the 1 and 2 spots, followed by Kirkwood, Palou, Lundgaard, Dixon, Malukas, McLaughlin, Power, and Harvey. I have no idea who any of these people are because I don't keep track of IndyCar very often. But, at least there's a lot of active passing going on and getting some great views of the track, and the stands are full. Yes, I know. Don't ever mention the Florida Panthers again. I can. I can, however. Please hold. Yes, it is that kind of day. I thought we could use an appearance of one Mr. Monty. Now, you're free to feel however you want about the Florida Panthers, True North, absolutely, but just don't put any of the blame on Monty. He just likes overtime. Well, last night, Luke, it was essentially the bombing of Fort McHenry last night in my neighborhood. Just fireworks and explosions going all over the place. I mean, Angie, like she went to wherever she goes to hide at night, which I assume is in the basement because that's the cool part of the house, and was fine. But Monty was once again glued to my side the entire time. So I think he just wanted everything to be over with. Yeah. True North watched too many terrible Panthers games this season. He would occasionally show up once in a while for the Panthers streams, but I don't blame him for not being there. There were some ugly, ugly games from them in the regular season. Meanwhile, Logan informs me that Brewers have now taken the lead 3-2 over the Pirates because of a two-run home run by Wilson Contreras. All right. Cool, cool, cool. All right, the top two still holding steady. Rahal has gained bits of time, but not being able to keep it for very long. Oh, yeah, no, that was... I still have trouble acknowledging that I stayed awake and kept watching the game for that long. If there wasn't video proof, I swear I think I would have dreamed it. Oh, goodness. And, yes, like I said before, the Xfinity NASCAR race got cut off early because of the inclement weather. The dude who wasn't first by the last name Custer, fitting for NASCAR, was just handed the win because there was such rain coming down and water was pooling on the track that they could not keep it apparently safe according to the Chicago conditions for the race. NASCAR put out a big statement that was essentially blaming the city for the fact that they weren't being allowed to finish the race. And now we wait to see if the Cup race is actually going to happen. Yeah. Blaming the track, they say. The track. Oh. And I know that I probably have bitched about this in here a great deal. And I apologize if I'm going to be bitching about it again. I do, because, that kind of stuff can get tiring and, just repetitive to listen to. But I was kind of hoping for the Chicago race to flop anyway. I had a feeling that it would, simply because, you know, major events like this that end up not only blocking downtown, starling traffic, taking away park space during summer months when people in Chicago are so excited to get outside, take advantage of all the usual free events and street festivals that are taking place around the city. And they decide to just close it off. I mean, I don't know if any of you looked at the track as it is set up in downtown Chicago. Have any of you looked at the track? Um, I swear, after watching it for a few laps of the qualifying replay that they did earlier today, I realized that if I hadn't been able to recognize the buildings that were on the other side of the safety walls, because I worked in the loop for a number of years, and I recognized a few of those buildings, especially along the Michigan Avenue part of the track. You could not tell that they were in a city. It looked like, I swear to God, it looked like we were just in any like Forza 1 console racing video game with the walls trapping you in and just flat backgrounds passing by to indicate, oh, we're in Japan now. Oh, we're in Paraguay. Oh, we're in France. Wow, I never thought the Eiffel Tower would be that small. Perspective is funny. Um, Oh, I can say nice things about Chicago. Chicago is a overall very friendly city, a very dedicated city, hard workers, good people. You know, enough dinks, but you know, the nice people do enough that it can really make up for it. Even for strangers. I I know that all the times that I saw people getting stuck in snow in Chicago, soon enough there was always somebody there to help push them free. Maybe two or three people. Okay, story time. Um, this is the most humiliating moment that I had as a Lyft driver. Um, I ended up picking up this woman who needed to get outside of the city all the way to the west side in rush hour traffic for a doctor's appointment. Great, perfect, right? Hey, Kip, it's going well. Keeping keeping the Indy 200 at Mid Ohio on in the background while I tell a story about the most embarrassing moment as a driver that I had. So I'm driving this impatient woman, and we're about to approach an intersection, and I happen to see on the map that there is an alley that cuts from one street I was going on through to the other that will get me to my pickup faster. However, the map was rather unclear. And as it happened, this alley that I was cutting through diverged two ways. One in an alley that looked like it led to nowhere, and two in a parking lot that appeared to lead to the street that I wanted to go on. So, I went into the parking lot, expecting, a little exit driveway. There was no exit driveway. Just a 3-foot high wall that my car immediately got stuck on as the front tires went over and I had no more traction. A very, very bad moment. I was also kind of glad this happened because this woman was getting like snippier and angrier as the ride went on. She even tried to offer me $5 to pick up the other shared ride passenger, to not pick up the other shared ride passenger that we had inherited because she was doing it as a shared ride. She wanted to save money and she didn't want anybody else jumping in because she needed to get to her doctor's appointment. So when my car got stuck, I just casually threw up my hands and I said, you know what? I fucked up. I'm sorry. You're going to have to cancel the ride and get someone else. I'll call it for you if you want, but this car isn't going anywhere. So there I am, sitting with a car teetering on its frame. And people are starting to stop because, it looks like something out of a movie where a car is just, kind of on the edge. And people start asking if I start stopping to ask if I need help. And finally, about 4 different people ended up pulling over to the side of this major road, Fullerton Avenue, for those of you who know it in Chicago. 3 of them got in front. We popped the trunk and had somebody else stand up there, and they just started rocking the car. The 3 people shoving in the front, one person jumping up and down in the trunk to get enough movement so we could shift the car back. Meanwhile, I'm putting it in reverse, waiting for the tires to get traction again. And we ended up back pushing my car back up off of the 3-foot abyss onto Fullerton Avenue. And it turned out that I had broken a hose or two underneath when I made that move, so I lost about a week of driving having to get that repaired. Yes, well, unfortunately, we've lost the radio dial with, digital scanners true north, so that was not an option for me. Sad to say. But I do know that all of those people stopping to help and give assistance to somebody who looked like they were in a bad situation would not have happened in many other cities, especially not in the area where I grew up. Like East Coast is very much not only mind your business, but don't get involved in the business of others. Not a healthy mindset. And I did not get that kind of, unvarnished, um, honest, you know, giving kindness that wasn't transactional, that didn't feel, oh, you owe me now one because I helped you. It was so much more of the feeling of we're helping because it's the right thing to do. And honestly, that was what made me fall in love with this city. Um, are you talking about the Admiral where it has the Larry Flint quote on the front saying that the greatest, about the right to be left alone being one of the, most important rights in a free country? Or are you talking about the, strip club that, from my road trip a couple of years ago that, advertised having the best girls, hot, live, and otherwise? Yeah, that was the, it was not, it was not as weird as that. Um, it was definitely not as weird as that. Like I've said before, you know, nope, strip club dancers, those performers, they are some of the best people you can drive anywhere. They understand having to grind it out, working for the money. They have they're pleasant conversation no matter what level of club you're at, and they decently tip. Yeah, Kip's story of getting stuck in a ditch where 30 cars passed before the tow truck, and every after that, somebody offered help, offered blankets, water, and all of that. It's tough to be the one to make that first helping hand assistance, especially when people are scared that it might be some sort of trick. Movies have taught us a lot. Now, honestly, I think this might be turning into a story time stream because I mentioned that thing about the character Chicago. The I think it was 2009. There was actually a committee that wanted to bring the Olympics to Chicago in 2016, and the mayor we had just elected, Mr. Rahm Emanuel, and President Obama were very big on board because, it's Obama's hometown and another Olympics in America. It'd be great for this. It'd be great for the city and all of that. And people raised hell. They didn't want all the city to get all this money to build an Olympic Village when there were so many infrastructure and housing problems that we still had to deal with in the city. And we ended up getting booted in the first round of voting. And it would not surprise me that the same thing happened with this agreement with NASCAR and Lori Lightfoot. But this is also the woman who took all the COVID money that was supposed to be spent in Chicago and gave it straight to the police department. Over $200 million. So you see why I am a little hesitant to see her as doing something that was in the interest of the good of Chicago. Yes, Lori Lightfoot has been voted out, but the agreement was made before she lost that primary. Oh yeah, no, it's just tons of nice people. I run into them frequently. It's just that I spent so many years in Chicago having to listen to news commentators, politicians denizens of the internet, and who knows who else, using Chicago as, you know, the example of everything that's wrong with America. That we're lawless, we're filled with drugs, no street is safe in Chicago. No, stick to the Loop and the chain restaurants because if you travel out there, we can't guarantee your safety. I had people asking me what neighborhoods to avoid as a driver, and I couldn't give my honest answer because I knew that it would piss them off. And it's why it boggled my mind so much when the announcement of this came through. A racing organization whose fans were only recently not allowed to bring the battle flag of North Virginia to events. Why would a group like that want to come to to a city that they have been told to hate and is awful and horrible, spend their tourism dollars in a place that is supposed to be everything that is wrong with America? It did not make sense. And for how many NASCAR fans there may be in the city, and how many there be in the burbs, because I gotta imagine there are a number of NASCAR fans outside the Chicago city limits who would love, love to go to a NASCAR race. There are like tracks all over the state where they could do that. Rockford Speedway. Well, that is the reality for Florida right now, True North. They're essentially doing everything they can to try to make life impossible for certain groups of people in Florida. There are politicians in this country, True North, who say they want to just outright ban an entire political party. The Democratic Party is the one they want to ban, keep in mind. So there are a number of reasons why I'm glad to see most of the Chicago street race event go down in, well, not in flames, but in a puddle of poor planning, as it were. Because for so many years, we were the villains of the story of what is real America. I want you to remember that phrase, real America. For years, living in big cities, attending a liberal arts college and being in the arts, I was told frequently that me and my friends were not real Americans. I know it shouldn't matter, and no, it doesn't matter to me anymore, but at that point, it did. I used to be a very patriotic person. I would regularly wear American flags, you know, on my own. Not like overly gaudy stuff, but just like a t-shirt with one, American flag bandana I used to have. And then, well, there were some mid-flight changes in September of 2001 that kept me from wanting to be associated with that flag anymore. Because it became a flag of bloodthirst. It became a flag of people screaming, "We'll put a boot up your ass because it's the American way." My 4th of July plans are to put on some soundproof headphones, Kip, listen to music, work on my script, and not pay a fucking bit of attention to a celebration for our country where the people who crow the loudest about loving it and what good citizens they are regularly slag the people who do a better job of espousing its values. And I gotta be honest, I'm starting to feel myself getting really angry and unpleasant, so I think I'm kind of going to end the broadcast here before I start really ranting and going on about nothing. Sorry this wasn't a happier one, folks, but all of that's been bouncing around my brain for the past few days. As far as, the holiday weekend and NASCAR and economics in the past and shit, and I knew I just had to get it out, and the race doesn't look like it's changing very much, so I'm going to leave this episode of Ass Talk here. For everybody who did show up for me yammering and telling stories, thank you very much. Request thread closes at 7 p.m. for Stupid Streaming Show. Get them in while you can. I will be back for that tomorrow night. Thank you so much for tuning in. Good night, Milwaukee, wherever you are.